at some point in our lives, we crave that human connection, to have just a conversation with another human being. It doesn't matter who. Take the time to know the heart or the soul, right? It could be a single mom, it could be a business person, it could be just really having a conversation. And you never know where that conversation could lead, like just something divine and beautiful. Like, people are just so busy and focused on their stuff that we just don't take the time and just have a conversation. It doesn't have to be about anything. In the beginning of the conversation, you said that's just so important, just to connect and have a conversation, right? I don't remember the exact words. And I just wanted to know, like, your perspective. Like, why do you feel that's so important?
Because of what social media and technology has done to our lives. You don't often see a teenager without their phone, right? And
yeah, I mean, you see now even like sometimes 10-year-olds have a cell phone, right? Yeah.
And I just think having those real conversations without an agenda, right? It's a real conversation about whatever is meant to come up between us, whatever is meant to transpire will transpire. And I believe that. And I think it's important. I think that we need to bring that real conversation back. We're not talking on a phone. We're not texting one another. We're here trusting whatever is going to come up for us is going to come up. Whatever is meant to be shared is currently being shared.
Yeah, because I've had, just sometimes people asking, well, what's the difference between meeting in person, talking over the phone? Like, you could just call someone up and talk to them. Like, why meet? Why take the time? And I mean, not to make anyone wrong, everyone's perspective is different, right? Depends what's important to you in life. But I just believe, for me, just through my journey and experience and all that, and just getting to where I am right now, it's different when you're talking over the phone, like you're holding your phone, you're talking, than meeting someone, than actually having a face-to-face conversation. Like, there are times, like, I'll be on the phone, and if I have to, be on it for an hour, I'll joyfully do it. But then there are times, like, especially these days, it's like I don't want to be on the phone for that long. Even though I enjoy connecting, I'd rather do the in-person thing, right? It's just way more comfortable. I don't know. It's just me.
It's not just you. I think, like, I'm definitely with you 100%. I think that we need to bring that one-on-one conversation back and talk about things that really matter.
Mm-hmm.
I like spending this time with you. This is nice. This is two beautiful energies coming together to share a conversation.
Yeah.
Well, why did you create 1111? Or did Scott come up with the name?
Scott, I didn't share my story with you, did I? Oh, okay, yeah, I know. I think, because of time and stuff, I think we didn't get around to really talking along the phone. 1111 got created. There is a very heartfelt story behind it. I was working at a job. I was a counselor, doing grief counseling at this hospice for 6 years. And Scott, there's a whole story behind, how we got together, and how he's helped me, and, he does interventions, and how he got to helping me. And that's, the dynamic of our professional relationship there. But he, long story short, he did an intervention on me that pulled me out of a very abusive, toxic, unhealthy work environment. And, and then when we were talking, I didn't want to bring it up because I thought, it's talking about my career, job, and probably wouldn't be appropriate for this case. But, for 6 years I was there, and I thought that's all I could be, and that's all I could do, and that was my world, that was my passion, that was my purpose. If I ever lost it, as abusive or unhealthy it was, I would not want to live anymore. There'd be no purpose for me on this planet, right? So I just stuck there, and I love just helping my clients, and that's what kept me going. Anyways, long story short, he did an intervention, and my dad got cancer last summer. He's okay now, but when he was diagnosed with cancer, I was just too scared to go to my employer and share with her, out of fear of being fired, because the other two employees got fired for standing up for themselves at this place, right? And it was a hospice, and I didn't feel safe to disclose all these things, and there were other things going on that were illegal and unethical. So Scott was my voice, and because he's known me for 6 years, I shared a lot of what was going on in confidence, because he was like my coach, my counselor,
Right.
my therapist, right? And he helped me through an eating disorder while I was at this place. So, when my dad could not drive me to work, it was actually in Woodbridge. When Scott, we would go for our morning jogs, have our meetings, and Scott he said, okay, if I can, I'll drive you to work just to support me and support my dad at the time. And he would see, when he would drop me off, I didn't even notice it, but he told me later, he would see my hands shaking, and I'll be like in so much anxiety going into work because I'd be so scared of my employer.
Wow.
And I became accustomed to it. I didn't realize how much it was eating me up. I think I was just, in a sense, because I knew I had to give it my all to my clients, and I couldn't let my anxiety get in the way, because I had to just, it would have an impact on them. So I was just focused on my clients that I didn't even realize how much it was affecting me inside. So anyways, long story short, he got a meeting. He sent this very beautiful video to the president of the board, and I even watched it after, and I started to cry. And when he came to pick me up one day, he was smiling. I'm like, how come you're smiling? He's like, something profound has happened. I know you're going to freak out, but I did something. And I'm like, oh no, what did you do? What did you do? And he's like, don't worry, it's all good. I sent this video, and it was just sharing, just for her to take me out for lunch or coffee, and maybe I'll feel safe to disclose all these things that my dad has cancer or whatever, to get that support. And she sent back a message to him and saying, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Love, Samina, and all that kind of stuff. You're a great friend. Love to take her out for coffee, whatever. And I even watched the video. There was nothing inappropriate in it. It was just coming out of love. Anyways, so that happened, and then Scott took that as an opportunity to get a meeting with her to share with her all the unethical, illegal things that were going on that I was too scared to share out of fear of being punished or reprimanded or somehow, right, from what I've experienced there. Anyways, so we got the meeting, and then they brought a lawyer to this meeting, all of us, suddenly, changing the location the last day, whatever. So in this meeting, I shut down. I was too anxious to even speak or talk. So Scott was my voice and shared on my behalf all these things that were happening. Slave labor hours, being forced to work 50, 60-hour weeks with them, and getting paid for 15, 16.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, my life was in there. So, and that's when life just threw me a curveball, because I wouldn't take time for myself. Mm-hmm. It was like, no, I got to do this. No, and I would bring work home with me. And it was like, and I couldn't concentrate on what was being created with my private practice or business I had with Scott, because all my diversion attention would be focused on
right.
his
You didn't
job.
have any energy left for anything else.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And I would have my weekend shifts with him, and I would just be exhausted, and then I'll be thinking about work or going in the next day. Anyways, so that was all now out in the open, and they said, thank you so much for sharing that. I promise there won't be any negative repercussions. You can come into work the next day. Don't feel anxious. It's okay. You did the right thing by sharing this, because we thought they did know what was going in, what
right.
was going on internally, because they're the board of directors. So that was the last, thing we knew to do. And then the next day they called me in, and suspended me and said they were starting an investigation on me instead of investigating all the illegal and ethical things that I had reported and I had evidence of.
That's crazy.
Right? We had 6 pages of written, evidence of what had happened. Everything in writing. Anyway, so the next day, when I shared that with Scott, I was like in shock. I broke down. I thought my world had ended. And my dad had cancer, and it's like, oh my gosh, like what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I thought for sure I'm going to lose my job now. And, all these thoughts were going in my mind. Scott said, okay, we're going to the Ministry of Labor the next day. I didn't want to. He's like, Samina, trust me, this is what you need to do right now. So we went, filed a claim, all that, and eventually I had to, long story short, they didn't investigate anything, pretended to do an investigation and turn the tables around. And eventually, it took me to, I had to get psychiatric care because my health was deteriorating. And I'm still, next week I have my first appointment to see a psychotherapist now. And I had to finally resign as of March 1st. I had to make that very tough decision because we're not investigating anything. So, that was a tough decision I had to make to break that string. And the case I'm still waiting for it to be assigned because it's now moved to a senior investigator. But that was that. So I'm still waiting for it to be assigned. So meanwhile, Hope for the Soul got created. Mission Marketing got created after that. That Scott was helping build those vehicles for me to help self-sustain myself.
Right.
Because I had such a low self-esteem. Thought okay, who's gonna want to hire me now when I have this case over my head, right? And it was like my thoughts were just racing. And then I'm just there were a lot of I'm saying all the details because it's a long story leading up to it. But long story short, and then Passion Projects got created. That's, through, things that happened in between. And then 11/11, just cutting to the chase with 11/11, I woke up one morning. This was a couple weeks ago, just before 11/11, I shared with Scott as I came in here. We were having our morning meeting, starting my work shift with him, and I shared with him, something I've been holding in because I didn't want to sound ungrateful that all that he's done for me and sponsored his time and given to me already. Anyways, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I thought, I wanted to share that I was waking up every morning at home with thoughts of not wanting to live anymore, with thoughts that there's no purpose. I used to be a counselor, I used to be the social worker. Now I feel like I've lost all that and I've lost my mission, I've lost my purpose. I know what we're doing here. You're helping me with my mission to go out there and serve more people, but I feel like I don't know, I don't have a purpose. I'm not good enough. What am I here to do now? All those thoughts, destructive thoughts. And I told him I really missed that structure of going into an office every morning and connecting with people. That's what I really missed, and I grieved. And he said, okay, well, the quickest solution to stop those destructive thoughts for you, I can't go out and find you a job that you get tomorrow, right? But create what we'll do, and he came up with this name 11/11. Create a platform, a structure where you have every morning someone to wake up to, where you can go and meet, bring them here, they come here, you get connected with them, so you're talking, you're having that human interaction with that one person Monday to Friday at 11:11 a.m. And if in the event you don't have a guest, you just go live on Facebook where you're connecting with people. So there's that structure for you to keep those, to stop those destructive thoughts and give you a purpose to wake up.
It's like you've created this new habit for yourself.
Yes.
To give yourself that purpose. You've created that purpose.
Yes.
That's amazing.
And he said, on one condition rule, that there's no selling, promoting on either one of your businesses, causes, passion. It's just a pure, divinely inspired conversation. And why we say no selling or anything too, because it takes away from the spirit of 1111. There's a meaning behind it.
Yes.
And also because, your other projects, you're making it fee-based now, so it take away from that too, right? So in all fairness, but it's divinely inspired, and your guests get some value with, having it on their own timeline. So maybe, and there was no strategy to it. It wasn't even planned. It was just like him coming up with a quicker solution based on what I told him. This is, how I can, solving a problem for you. And it just took a life of its own. And we just, having a few guests so far, see, okay, this is how it could be of value to them. It's being on their own timeline.
Right. I think that's brilliant. I think it's a really clever concept for sure.
Their network, their close friends, people who care about them, know them, will probably want to tune in and maybe see a different side to them.
Exactly.
Right? But this was not all talked about when he created it for me. It was just like, this is what you need right now. This is what I know to do. And you just want to connect with people. And
then all of these wonderful things have come out of that.
Yeah, and it just took a life of its own. So
that's great. So this
that's
is still
how it
really
got
new.
created.
Yes.
So it is new, just like 2 weeks old or whatever. But and that's 1111. That's why it's I think the purity of it, and Scott's right. Like if we add any other promotion or just what he shared with you, with a guest who's was going to come this evening, stress to it, it's just not spiritually divine anymore. Exactly. It just takes away from that purity. It's about just letting go and let, whether it's God or spirit, whatever you believe in your heart, reveal in the moment what you're supposed to talk about. It will just come out naturally. If you go on tangents, that's fine, right? It's just a conversation, right? To really get connected and share, So that's how it got created.
Well, good luck with it.
Yeah, thank you.
And you're a beautiful person.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah, so, At some point in our lives, we crave that human connection, to have just a conversation with another human being. It doesn't matter who. Take the time to know the heart or the soul, right? It could be a single mom. It could be a business person. It could be just really having a conversation. And you never know where that conversation could lead. Like just something divine and beautiful. Like people are just so busy and focused on their stuff that we just don't take the time and just have a conversation. It doesn't have to be about anything.